If an AI output sounds too perfect, it might be a hallucination. In this AI Byte session, we're going to be looking at AI hallucinations, how they happen, and how you can verify outputs to make sure that you're not getting confidently wrong answers that you're using when you shouldn't. One of the biggest myths I think that's out there is that an AI hallucination is a breakdown in the model. So that's not exactly true. It's what happens when the model fills gaps in the most probable next words, not the most accurate facts, and it might not be relevant to your context. But it's not a breakdown. The model's working as it's intended. And the results can sound convincing, even when it's completely made up. So when you hear AI hallucination, that's really what's being referred to. And an AI hallucination is confidently wrong a lot of the time. But there's a lot of things you can do to first prevent that, and then secondly, to verify it. So when you're working in an AI tool, how accurate and relevant your results are going to be are really based on the model itself, the prompt that you're providing, and context information, and then capabilities as well. So now I want to walk you through a quick, fun example in ChatGPT just to show you how hallucinations work and how you can verify the information too. So I'm going to start with a topic that I know very well, so I'll be able to quickly spot what's correct and what's not. So I'm going to say, tell me everything you can about Cambria Dumas now. So hopefully I have a good grasp on this. So we'll see it's searching the web, so it's not just relying on information in its training data. It says it's unable to locate credible information about somebody named Cambria, but they did find some next steps. A designer named Cambria from California, who's a graphic designer. That's definitely not me. Somebody named Cambria who likes Harry Potter, Italian food, hobbies. And so we're not getting a whole lot of information on me. So I'm going to refresh the page and try again. Tell me about Cambria Dumas now. Sometimes you'll get different answers the more you do it. So now it's coming back and it looks like it gives me some images. So it found me. Um, that was one of my old profile pictures, an interview I did with Everyday AI, my own podcast that I used to have. And then it goes into my background. So it says I have a master's in organizational performance and workplace learning, which is true. It says I'm a certified pro-sci change practitioner, certified in human centered design. I've worked as a management analyst. So all this information here is true. It talks about my more recent work with UC Berkeley. It talks about some of my interests with learning and development, organizational improvement, and then it does have links here. So this is a link directly to one of my podcast episodes. So that's where it's pulling that information from. And I can click into that and it'll pull it up so that I could verify that and really understand the context of what this information is telling me. And so then it continues on talking about why I matter, I guess. And then key takeaways that I've done. It talks about some of my other podcast information. So there's a lot of stuff there. Now I'm going to look more into state government. So tell me about her work in state government, because there'll be a little bit less information about this since it's not a podcast or things that I'm doing out necessarily in the public. So we have some images here. It's more of a summary about me with my experience as a management analyst 5, my professional bio. Again, it has all the links here. And then it just keeps going on with different things. It talks about my fellowship and some limitations about what they couldn't find about my work. And then it doesn't talk about any of my newer work, though, being with the One Washington program again. So it says it can look for specific projects. So as you're looking at the results, whether it's something you're searching about yourself, someone else, information that you're going to be using in your work, it's important to remember that what shows up may be accurate, but you may not fully understand the context. So clicking into those links is going to help you a bit. And then it may not give the whole picture. And just to show an example of a real hallucination, I did this exercise a couple times before recording just to make sure nothing weird came up. But there is one part here. So I'm going to scroll down. When I asked about my work in state government before, it talks about my time with One Washington. And this was when I was there a couple years back. but it lists me as Cambria Dumasnell Agency Deployment Lead, Deputy Agency Readiness Director acting. And that is definitely not a role that I've had. I was a relationship manager before. So when we click into this link of One Washington, it shows our old team. This information's out of date. So if you have a website, that's important for you to know that you should remove information, even if it's not in your navigation, it's still there behind the scenes. So when we get down to Cambria, it says agency support specialist. So it's taking my information here and confusing it with the information up here. And so, just to close us out, some quick tips for fact checking AI information. First, you can prevent hallucinations with your prompt by providing more context. So, in my example, I asked specific to state government experience so that we didn't get everything else. The second is searching it yourself, verifying it with Google, your intranet, any official database. And then cross sourcing. So, if you find links from one, make sure that you can find that information in another place too, and then using those sources that are either available in the large language model or asking for them if it's not provided, because they won't always provide them, and then making sure you add your human review.